Some breaking news today. Republican firebrand Congresswoman Marjorie Taylor Greene has been the subject of a shocking political attack late last night at her Georgia home. Greene was swatted. She tweeted this: "Last night I was swatted just after 1 a.m. I can't express enough gratitude to my local law enforcement here in Rome-Floyd County." More details to come.
Yeah, and now swatting, commonly defined as the action or practice of making a prank call to emergency services in an attempt to bring about the dispatch of a large number of armed police officers to a particular address. Now, according to the Rome Police Department report, officers responded to a 911 call at 1:03 a.m., which initially led them to believe that a man had been shot multiple times in a bathtub at Greene's home. But when officers arrived, of course, there wasn't an incident like that at all.
Yeah, and after officers cleared the scene, the department received a call from the actual suspect who claimed responsibility for the false shooting call and explained their motives, reportedly upset over Greene's stance on trans rights. Congresswoman Marjorie Taylor Greene is now here with us to explain exactly what happened last night. Congresswoman, welcome. The lead-in here has to be about last night, ... We kind of set up the story of what happened, but you experienced it, literally a likely rude awakening at 1 a.m. Tell us about it.
Yeah, a very serious and scary awakening. I have to tell you that. And I'm so thankful to the police here in Rome. They were incredible. They were professional. They did their jobs very well. So I was awakened by hearing the doorbell and knocks at the door and hearing people outside my bedroom windows. I saw a few lights outside, but they weren't police lights, just a few lights. And I was very concerned, not knowing who was outside my home. Jumped out of the bed, got dressed, and I went to pick up my gun, simply because I was really afraid of who might be at the door. Obviously in the middle of the night, not expecting anyone. But I just had a gut feeling to leave the gun where it is and not carry it with me. And that's not normal for me. I normally would take it with me to the door at all times, especially in that kind of situation. But I'm very, very glad I did not carry my gun to the front door, because when I came around into the foyer where I've got windows, I saw many police outside on my front porch, and it was a serious situation. Opened the door and spoke with them, and they were asking me if everything was okay and told me what the 911 call was all about. I was shocked, absolutely shocked. And of course, assured them, no, nothing like that has happened here. Invited them into my house, asked them to look around because I was really scared, and realized, and they also confirmed that, yes, it sounds like you've been swatted. And indeed, that is what happened. Now, here's the very terrifying truth of it. This is how they get people killed. So this person that made this phone call intentionally wanted me to be killed by police officers, because they are based, it's like political terrorism. They hate my views and they hate the legislation that I introduced last week, the Protect Children's Innocence Act. And this bill would make it a felony, a Class C felony by federal law, to perform gender-affirming care on children under the age of 18. And this is a very important piece of legislation because of the mass movement on the left to perform these, life-altering permanent procedures where they are performing mastectomies on teenage girls, castrating teenage boys, hysterectomies, puberty blockers, hormones. Very permanent decisions that kids should not be making until they're adults. That they need to grow up to make these decisions. But yet this person was so angry at me over this. They wanted me dead, and they sent the police to my house. They told them a lie, and they wasted police resources to come and kill me or my family over their political views. And I'm appalled and disgusted at it.
I'm wondering if you had gotten your gun, because a lot of people certainly would have gotten it in that situation. And then the police officers didn't just break down the front door. It sounds like they were trying to knock first and let you know that they were there. What do you think would have happened? You're carrying the gun. They break down the door, not hearing anything.
Oh, I'm terrified to even think what would have happened. You see, our police here are wonderful. These are the good guys, and they take their jobs very seriously. And the 911 call that came in was an extremely serious call that someone had been shot and was in a bathtub, and that there were children in the home, and there was more potential violence that could occur. And that's what the lie was. And that lie was told so that police would come to my house tactically ready, and they were tactically ready. They had their guns drawn. They were prepared for a very bad situation. And if they had seen me come around the corner holding a gun, I'm scared to even think about it. And I'm also terrified to even think, what if I wasn't home and that was one of my children? It's too much to think about. And this is real political terrorism. And this is extremely dangerous, and it's happened to other people, not just me, but we cannot allow it to make us stop in our hard work, such as important legislation as the Protect Children's Innocence Act. And it won't stop me. And another thing is it will not prevent me from going to the front door armed if I think I need to be. But these are the kinds of things where it's not only is it unfair and it's dangerous for me, but it's also unfair and dangerous for our great men and women in law enforcement that risk their lives when they show up to 911 calls such as that, because not only could a person in the home get killed, so could a police officer. And, they have families too. So this should be, I believe whoever this is, they should be tried for attempted murder, for trying to have me killed. They should be tried for terrorism. They should be tried to the full extent of the law, so that this stops. This has to stop. This political targeting and political terrorism needs to end, and it needs to end now.
Yeah. Also, Congresswoman, it's interesting how your gut just told you to leave your gun in your bedroom. So we're happy that your gut told you that too. But also the police report states something else fairly alarming, that the suspect claims that he or she is connected to this website, which is a site that actually supports cyber stalking. The suspect even gave police their username. So basically, as you pointed out, this is a suspect admitted to intending to do harm via cyber stalking. You said you fully want to, prosecute whomever did this, and I'm assuming that suspect is still at large, right?
Yes, there's an investigation underway, and there's an even investigation into whether that's really the person that did this. But isn't it concerning that such a website exists? Like, why does that even exist? That website needs to be taken down. There should be no business or any kind of service where you can target your enemy. That's absolutely absurd. And this is the type of lawlessness that Democrats want all over the country. The Democrats are the party of defund the police, which has created crime that is going out of control all over the country. But it's also failure of our government and failure of our law enforcement to not take down a website like that. Like, all of these types of groups need to be completely eradicated. They should not be allowed to exist. They should not be able to abuse police resources like that. And police officers, we need more police officers. We don't have enough right now. They need to be able to respond to traffic accidents as real emergencies, and to calls where they've got to save someone's life, not be part of a prank or a potential, way to kill someone. So, that has to end.
Let me ask you about something else where there was a police call. I don't know if you saw it. This is just kind of coming public, some of the video that we saw of the Speaker's husband, Paul Pelosi. I don't know if you had a chance to see that. The video showing him, rocking back and forth, having trouble standing up. There are a lot of people that look at this and say the 5 days, he got 3 years probation, time served, which was essentially 2.5 days. What's your take on this kind of thing?
Well, I believe that Paul Pelosi should also be prosecuted to the full extent of the law. Just because he's Nancy Pelosi, our House Speaker's husband, doesn't mean that he gets a full pass. And just because he has donated a lot of money to local elected officials there, that doesn't mean he gets a full pass either. As a matter of fact, he needs to be held accountable. We need to have a real justice system in America, not the two-tier justice system where the people in charge always get off from their crimes, but those that are their political enemies or on the opposite aisle of them get completely persecuted to the full extent and letter of the law. You see, Paul Pelosi, he owes a debt to society, and he should pay for it, and we should demand that that happens.
And Congresswoman, while we still have you here with us, we would love to get your thoughts on what President Biden may still be speaking about at this very moment, the college loan forgiveness. Your thoughts on that?
Well, my thoughts are this is why in the world is it so simple for a 17 or 18-year-old to take out such a massive loan to go to college when it's so difficult for small business owners and just working people to buy a house? You see, that's absolutely absurd. That should never happen in our country. And I think it's completely wrong. But for our government just to say, okay, well, your debt is completely forgiven. Obviously, they have an agenda for that. They need votes in November. So the timing is a pure coincidence there as well. But it's completely unfair. And taxpayers all over the country, taxpayers that never took out a student loan, taxpayers that pay their bills and maybe even never went to college or just hardworking people, they shouldn't have to pay off the great big student loan debt for some college student that piled up massive debt going to some Ivy League school. That's not fair. You see, that's everything wrong. We want kids to be able to pursue their college education. We want them to be successful, but there should not be a system in place that allows them and encourages them to pile up massive debt in these big colleges and universities, especially the ones that are receiving a lot of federal funds to operate. If it's up to me, I would definitely change things, write legislation, and make sure that kids can't be conned into making these bad decisions. And unfortunately, until that changes, we have a serious problem on our hands. And many Americans have a lot of college debt. But I completely disagree with President Biden. That's the wrong way to go. But he's looking to bring in blue votes in November, so we know exactly why he's doing it.
All right, Congresswoman Marjorie Taylor Greene, we're happy that you are safe and okay. Thanks so much for being with us.
Thank you. Thank you.